7 drama episodes you probably missed out on. 90 Day Fiance. Traveling for miles to find love seems like a casual thing to do for people who appear on this show. I mean, whether it's scripted or not, 90 Day Fiance gives its viewers a bowl of entertainment you can never get enough of. One of the most interesting things to watch is the cultural barriers most of these lovers have, not turning a blind eye to the massive age gap. Today, we showcase 7 drama episodes you probably missed out on in 90 Day Fiance.
I don't want to. I don't know, I'm not ready for that. Even I'm not ready for my mom to be holding the baby all the time.
Number 7, Pao doesn't want anyone holding her baby. When the episode started, everything was all merry because Russ was excited for his baby boy who was 3 weeks old at the time. His mother was coming to visit them, and it was the first time when his mother and his mother-in-law got to meet face to face. There was excitement to have her over, but things got cringy when Pao dropped the bombshell on him. She was still not comfortable with anyone holding her baby and wasn't backing down anytime soon. She wanted Russ to make her simple house rules clear to avoid unnecessary conflict since even Pao's own mother never got to hold the baby. She fears her child is still too fragile and wouldn't want to lose him out of being careless like her previous child. She proceeds to inform Russ that she makes the rules with the baby because she was the one that carried him for 9 months and went through all the pain while giving birth. At this point, everyone has an awkward silence, including Russ, who's concerned that his mother is flying all the way just to meet a grandson she isn't allowed to hold.
Ready to go home, darling?
Oh, please.
Larissa is on.
Number 6, Day 1 in Las Vegas, and Larissa is not impressed. When Larissa arrived in Las Vegas, all she could do was complain. I mean, I couldn't blame her. Apart from Colt picking her up at the airport with no flowers, she was taken to see a Las Vegas sign instead of something intimate. Her ride to Colt's home was also very unpleasant due to the unbearable heat. To make matters worse, she discovers that her husband-to-be still lives with his mother and she has to cope because that is where they would both be living. When Colt's mom, Debbie, asked how she found Las Vegas, Larissa never hesitated to share how disappointed she was since it seemed way better in the pictures. I mean, the girl expected to see some 7-star casinos and huge mansions, not an empty living room filled with ugly decor and an old slot machine. As she's taken up to see the room, Larissa almost wants to jump out the window and book her flight back home because she wasn't about to settle for anything less. She made this clear when they went back to the dining table, where she bluntly asked if she could move to a house with a swimming pool. Someone give this girl a wake-up call because, Colt isn't the rich guy she thought, and just a broke man still living off his mother. Debbie at this point is shaken and tries to ease the situation by suggesting Larissa could change the decor in the house to make it feel more homey. Larissa decides to be bold and tells them she would get rid of the ugly decor, including the slot machines, which turned out to be a gift to Debbie from Colt's late father. The awkward silence that follows could tell everyone's mind was just all over the place. As if the awkwardness wasn't enough already, when Debbie informs them that she's made beef stew, Larissa tells her she wasn't hungry and would eat at a later time. They then leave the table with Colt to take her bags to the room as Debbie is left crying after getting heartbroken. Cringe.
Once I move there, I'll mind my business. If I'm gonna go anywhere, I'll go with my fiance, my woman.
Number 5. Michael tells new friends about his plans to go to America. The land of milk and honey is what Michael expected to hear about America as he works on his K-1 visa process. However, he's in for a big shock, as expats tell him it's not all gold in America. First of all, they're all concerned that Michael will be living in a rural small town in Georgia as opposed to the capital where there's diversity. Many of them know small towns to have a lot of racial profiling, which could make Michael have a hard time. When Michael is asked on what he intends to do for work when he arrives in America, he points out that he doesn't have a green card yet and could probably take a while keeping busy with small things before he can secure a decent job, since as a Nigerian man, he wasn't raised to depend on a woman. They continue grilling Michael on his aspirations in America and dig out more info on his fiance, whom they're shocked to find out is 20 years his senior. They bring up the subject of children, which shakes the table, and Michael defends his fiance by claiming they would get IVF done, but more concerns arise since she's still not able to carry the baby, and the whole process is rather expensive. When they find out that Michael is willing to go through great lengths to convince one of his fiance's daughter to donate an egg, they tell him he's doing a bit too much and should reconsider what he was getting himself into before it was too late. You could see how Michael's face just turned pale despite his mouth speaking out in optimism. Poor guy.
What do you think we should spend $14,000 on?
What? I know you're me sometimes.
I mean?
Number 4. Juliana bought herself a car using someone's money. When the episode starts, it all seems to be one big happy family. Nothing seems dysfunctional, and Juliana and Michael are getting ready to go furniture shopping. Since Juliana arrived in America,
At this time, Maxwell said that he would like to give a few words.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey, Max. I'm glad you could all come here today. And I'm really glad that my dad and Juliana are finally getting, married.
Michael opted to purchase a bigger house so they would all live comfortably with his children and wife-to-be. They're seen getting into Michael's sports car as they drive off to a furniture shop. After minutes of scouting around, Juliana falls in love with a $14,000 couch, which Michael feels is a bit too expensive. The sales lady was kind enough to advise and guide them through, asking if they would still appreciate the seat 5 years down the line. Luckily, Juliana agrees that they should keep looking instead of wasting money. The producer puts them both in the spotlight when Michael is asked if they talk about finances or any form of shared finances, which he reveals they don't. All this tension is downed by a mini coffee date. Just when Michael thinks the situation was under control, Juliana brings up the topic that Michael was mean with his credit card. Michael doesn't appreciate that Juliana went ahead and bought herself a car using his credit card. She tries to apologize, claiming it was consolation since she wasn't quite sure she was going to get a visa to America. Seriously? When Michael asks about the car and if it was rotting away at her home garage, Juliana shocks him that it's in operation as a cab. And get this, it's her sister who's running the cab. What a smart girl. A thief too. What do you think?
I am not your ex, okay? Your ex one life and me one life, okay? Not like...
Number 3, woman hasn't told Tunisian boyfriend she's still married. Rebecca has traveled to Tunisia to visit her boyfriend Zayed, but she hasn't told him yet that she's still married. As she checks into her hotel, the two seem to kick things off just fine. Rebecca gives Zayed a sweater with her face on it, and all he says is yes, not knowing whether to love it or to be freaked out about it. She proceeds showing him some lingerie since she was hoping to get intimate that night, but Zayed is nervous because Rebecca is older and a grandmother. Hey, his words, not mine. Skipping all the details, it seems the two had a steamy night, and more revelations await us during the episode. The two visit the town market as they enjoy the scenery and end up at a cafe-like spot where they reveal their skeletons. Rebecca opens up to Zayed about her insecurities and asks him deep questions about his previous relationship, only to find out he has jealousy issues like her ex. This raises a red flag because she doesn't wish to repeat the same mistakes, especially since Zayed and his ex broke up in a huge fight. Her secret is far worse. Legally, she's married and only filed for divorce before her trip to Tunisia. News that she doesn't know how to break to Zayed, who is bound to get really mad about it.
Much, sir.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Have yourself a great day.
Number 2, throw your wine. They say when you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. However, for Laura, she was having a really hard time coping with the cultural differences in Qatar, and felt it more when she couldn't dress in shorts or drink some nice wine since it was illegal. Despite all the cameras around her, Laura decides to make a stop at a supermarket and purchases bags of grapes, some sugar, and yeast to make some homemade wine following a recipe she followed on YouTube. Since Aladdin doesn't drink and wouldn't approve of it, she decides to do it behind his back, only for him to show up early from work. Never had she seen him so furious because he scolded her for it and even warned that they would be sent to jail for doing something illegal like that. He warned that the neighbors were the first people to call the police on them and requested Laura to pour it instead of pushing through with it. The ultimatum was clear, him or the wine, and Laura had to make a wise choice. Aladdin leaves the house as Laura is left torn on what to do with her wine craving. She feels disappointed with Aladdin, who she feels is a party pooper, instead of thanking him for saving her from going to jail. Number 1, Avery's mom finds out about the move to Syria. Let's just say this has got to be the awkwardest wedding ceremony I have witnessed on this show. Due to the Islamic culture, Avery's mom wasn't able to be an official witness to her daughter's wedding despite being present. The law requires one man or two women for them to be recognized as official witnesses. The whole time, she was holding back tears, which clearly seemed to be of sadness. Since Avery didn't know or speak Arabic, the sheikh was her representative and was taking the vows on her behalf. Avery and her mom just sat back as the sheikh held hands with Omar, her husband, saying the vows. This was very chauvinistic to say the least, but culture is culture. After an agreement was settled and a dowry price of $6,000 was agreed upon, the ceremony was finalized and the two officially pronounced man and wife, despite Avery not participating even a single bit. A small celebration was done at a restaurant where the three went to have their last meal since Avery's mother was leaving Lebanon. Her daughter had other plans to move to Syria with Omar despite the chaos happening in the place. Her mother was very emotional about it, so much so that she started breaking down in front of everyone, and it seemed even the other guests at the restaurant were a bit concerned. What concerned many viewers who took note, though, was the smirk on Omar's face. Avery's mom didn't want her daughter to do anything but be a housewife, but it seems time is the only thing that would tell Avery's fate.